Hello and welcome to our video presentation on the impact of effective communication on service users and caregivers within the social care sector. This presentation will contribute to the viewer's understanding of communication, specialized communication, and influencing and confrontation. So how can we define communication? Effective communication is determined by how well we convey information. Proper communication can help people to find common grounds. And we can also define communication as an exchange between two or more people. Communication fosters empathy and understanding in client-care relationship. A key component of effective communication is effective listening. For this video presentation, our focus is on influencing and confrontation and specialized communication. And there are three objectives for influencing and confrontation. One is to define power, two, influencing, and three, persuasion. Power is defined as the capacity a person or a group has over the other and to make them do what they want. According to Cambridge English Dictionary, influencing is to change the behavior or thinking of someone, to sway. Influencing is about trying to get what you want or attempting to get others to change in ways that we prefer. However, influencing others may often end up in frustrations, people feeling defensive and harassed. But there are strategies for influencing. One of them is to compromise, assertiveness, and confrontation. However, there are effective and ineffective strategies for influencing, such as the ineffective ones are like threats and belittling and pouting and withdrawing. All these strategies hurt people. They are ineffective as at first the person may give in to your threats because of fear. Over time, the threat will eventually diminish or be forgotten. Then they may revert to the old norms, which of course has not achieved the desired results. Cardini put forward 7 governing laws in influencing: the law of scarcity, the law of reciprocity. People are often obliged to return a favor, and if you're kind to a service user, they may respond positively to you. Then there's a law of authority. People are drawn to people who appear to be in authority or the expert. There's a law of liking. You naturally gravitate towards people that you like. There's law of social proof, and finally the law of commitment and consistency. Consistency is key in relationship building. People regard that as honesty, strength, and stability. People trust those who are consistent in their words and in their actions. I would like to introduce Doreen so she can explain how influencing can change others in the workplace.
Thank you, Harriet. People may not easily respond to change when you want them to. There may be underlying issues holding them back, like their past. It is important to recognize the enforcers. Take a case scenario where someone has been consistently let down. They may have difficulty trusting again and may be unwilling to change from their position on certain issues. Influencing can be more effective when you compromise and negotiate. You can reward behaviors that you want through place, verbal or non-verbal appreciation. The other person needs to feel respected. Assertiveness is the ability to be confident about yourself. Your body language communicates better than the words you speak. You have to open body language and an ability to communicate calmly. It is important not to display aggression and be able to understand and recognize your feelings. You must have clear boundaries and earn respect of others. Confrontation and conflict are all part of work life. They can result in very strained or damaged relationships. Some of the strategies of dealing with and resolving conflicts are integrative conflict strategies, known as the win-to-win approach. The approach centers around finding common grounds for both parties involved. It can be achieved by asking questions like, what are you feeling? What is important to you? The essence of these strategies is to try and understand the other person's perspective by not undermining their feelings. You must strive to respect their behaviors. using interaggressive conflict strategy. Impact of confrontations on service users. Conflicts can have adverse effects on people if not resolved effectively. It may leave people feeling sad, depressed, motivated. In some cases, they could feel completely undermined and undervalued. These feelings can impact on the health of the service user. To resolve this, people need to feel like they are relevant. You must be understanding, listen actively, acknowledge their grievances. Do not interrupt or traumatize their position. Confrontation can affect the caregiver's performance in caring for the service users. It can result in sleepless nights, stress, exhaustion, even sometimes can lead to burnout. Caregivers may lose interest in what they are doing at the workplace. Confrontation damages relationships between caregivers and service users. When communicating with a person who have a learning disability, it is important to be familiar with the different methods of communication aids that are available to aid in effective communication. Richard will now discuss this area further.
Thank you, Doreen. Thank you. A learning disability can affect the way in which a person learns in different areas of life. It can be difficult for a person with a learning difficulty to understand complex or new information and to learn new skills. It can impact on a person's ability to cope independently. Down syndrome can affect each individual differently, but can share certain physical characteristics and developmental problems. It is very important when communicating with a person who has a cognitive impairment to speak directly to the person and not the person assisting them. Be patient, use clear and concise wording, do not be condescending, always ask a person to repeat themselves if you do not understand the first time. Never try to complete another person's sentences for them. Augmentative and alternative communication. An individual's communicative competence may vary across contexts depending on a person's environment and communication goals. According to Wirtz in 1988, what defines adequacy of communication will vary depending on the goals of the individual who uses augmentative and alternative communication and the communication requirements to meet those goals. Individuals who require AAC may define the success of intervention differently than professionals do. Depending on their personal goals, these views must be respected. Augmentative and alternative communication. Methods include symbolic communication, refers to communication that involves a shared message between the sender and the receiver. Examples of symbolic communication include speech, sign language, writing, print or braille, picture communication systems, and tactile communication systems. Communication boards and books. There are two types of symbol systems. Symbols can be displayed on a board for a person to point to, or may be arranged in the pages of a book. According to Solomon and Theus, nonverbal communication is defined as the process of one person creating meaning in mind of another person through nonverbal behaviour. To quote the journalist Sidney J. Harris, the two words information and communication are often used interchangeably, but they signify quite different things. Information is giving out, communication is getting through. The silence of speechlessness is never golden, according to B. Williams. We all need to communicate and connect with each other, not just in the way that we treat each other, but on behalf of our team, we would like to thank you for taking the time to watch our video presentation. We hope it has been of benefit in furthering the viewer's understanding of effective communication. Thank you.